talking the other night about how the body prepares itself to die, and talking about people who work in ICU and those kind of conditions in the hospital where it's inevitable that patients are going to pass into the spirit world, and the amazing things that they must have seen or that they do see on a regular basis. And people who work in hospice and that kind of thing, I think that they are exposed to stuff that you and I, as just the general person sitting in a room, knowing somebody dying or knowing of somebody dying, we don't see or have the same kind of experiences. So I thought it's a good idea maybe even just to talk about it a little bit here, because the body definitely does start to do a preparation for death. And of course, I think the first thing that shuts down is the necessity for food and the necessity for water. So, if you've ever had to nurse somebody into the moment of their passing, you probably would have noticed that they no longer need to eat, or they can only tolerate very soft foods. And then eventually they're no longer even asking for anything to drink. And as that happens, so the body becomes a lot more quiet, the person becomes a lot more quiet and relaxed, and they seem to be sleeping more than being awake and being conscious of people in the room. If you sit with them, you would notice that probably in the 12 hours or so before the time for passing, that the hands start to get cold, and so as the limbs start to get cold further and further up towards the main part of the body, the toes and the feet and the legs as well, that as well is the body that is preparing to pass. From the spiritual side, hold on, let me actually just go back to carrying on with the body, okay? So eventually the mind quietens down, and then you'd find that person very, very much appears to just be sleeping and be very, very much at peace and calm, and it's almost like we all know that that's going to be the moment, or the moment is very close for them, the spirit to actually be leaving the body. A lot of people report that just before the passing, there is a moment of complete lucidity where the person dying would actually open their eyes and acknowledge the people in the room, maybe even sit up, maybe even have the opportunity to say goodbye, to spend a few moments with their loved ones, holding their hand, or, we know what takes place in those kind of situations, and in the, it's a very, very personal experience for everyone. But then that moment of being awake and being lucid doesn't last for very long. It can last 5 minutes, it can last a day. And then you know that the actual process of dying has come to an end, and the heart eventually stops. So no matter what it is that the person was actually physically dying from, the heart stopping is when the final process is kind of over and the brain shuts down. All the electromagnetic fields and things going through the brain kind of shut down in that moment of the heart stopping as well. From the spiritual perspective, when we think about how our soul is connected to our physical body, we have 3 cords that joins our soul to our physical body, which is one of the reasons why I say you can never have another spirit take over your body, because you have 3 golden threads, one that sits at the base of your neck, one that sits in the middle of your back at your solar plexus to your heart chakra, and one that is rooted in your root chakra, so right at the bottom of your spine is the 3rd golden thread. And that process of the body shutting down, as the chemical process starts to happen, and the hands start to get colder and the arms start to get colder and the feet and going up the body, so those little golden threads are being dissolved. And it all works just so very well synchronized that as the body gets to the final moment of the heart stopping and the brain shutting down as well, the last of those little golden threads are dissolved, and the spirit leaves the body through the crown chakra and takes those golden threads along with them back into the spirit world. So I thought that that would be something really, really interesting and informative to talk to everybody about. And of course, if you have got any comments, and if you are somebody who does work in that environment, helping people to pass, and if you have experienced anything that you would love to share with the rest of us in the comments, please do, because it really is a fascinating topic, and it is something that people don't like to talk about. You know, we all try to avoid the conversation around death, but we need to know that it actually is such a beautiful spiritual experience, and something that we can all learn from if we are privileged enough to be in the room when that happens. So yeah, I'd love to hear your comments and hear what you have to share with us.